Hey Salma, this is Hakim. You know what it is. I appreciate you having me on the Kannon show. This is fresh. Love the content. Can't wait to do more with you guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being in the Kannon show. Welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me here.
So please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yeah, this is Hakim Green, Channel Live and Direct, BDP all day, every day, and we spark mad-ism.
So before you became, I'm gonna go way back just from the start. Before you became who you are today, let's say 20 years from today, could you describe to us who you were and?
Yeah, so to answer that question, we'd have to go back further than 20 years. I came up in the 70s, 80s, East Orange, New Jersey, graduated high school in 1987. I was senior classmates with KG DJ for Naughty by Nature, then called the New Style. I saw the New Style formed at my high school in my senior year talent show, 1986. You know what I mean? So when we talk about the culture of hip hop, I'm from that era and seen it kind of grow. Went to college, came out of college, became a school teacher, taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for 4 years at East Orange at the Hart Middle School Complex, Social Studies and Science. And seeing hip hop transform at that point, going from an underground thing to more popularized, commercialized, more mainstream. I saw it happen, and then the effect that it had on young people, from directly from TLC wearing condoms on their shirts, and then 12 and 13-year-olds coming to school with condoms on their shirts. Like I said, I went to high school with Tretch. Those are my people. So to see Tretch and his energy and how young people interpreted that energy, it caused conflict. So I knew when I got in the game, I had to bring something different, and it was a blessing to be able to run with KRS-One and meet him. I started an after-school program when I was a school teacher. It's called Act Now, African Children of Tomorrow Now. Part of that program, we would take young folks to see different lecturers at the time, real hot lecturers. Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, Alvin Van Sertima, and then KRS-One when he was doing Human Education Against Lies. I met Chris in that arena, education, community activism, and in that spirit. And that was a blessing because that helped me channel the music from a more conscious standpoint, and then had a validation from somebody who was, actually doing that thing. Now, going from the first album, Station Identification, with Mad-ism, all we do is spark Mad-ism, to the present, we dropped the album on Flavor Unit in 2000 called Arm a Ghetto. Brilliant album, but because times were changing and things were happening in the music, it was being really commercialized, and it just wasn't.
What year was this?
This was 2000. 1999, 2000. This album dropped March of 2000. And, just get caught up in the time change. And then, so, I took my skills to another level. We created a film company called Gorilla Flicks along with Benny Boom, the video director, filmmaker now. So a lot of the stuff that was coming through there, I was involved in. Tuffy, myself and Tuffy hooked up Mike City with Carl Thomas. Mike City ended up bringing Tuffy out there. They've been working together for ever and a day. For those who don't know, the other half of Channel Live, which is the group that I'm in. And then we started a production imprint, started managing artists, and I've been doing that off and on since then. I became an artist once again in 2008. I put out a project called Hip Hop Nation. Again, just trying to keep that spirit of activism, consciousness, to the people. And now I'm about to drop an album called Mad-ism, Who Want This Smoke, featuring Carl Thomas, KRS-One, Tretch, Do It All, Keith Murray, Drez from Black Sheep, Sadat X, Thurston Howell III, some Miami legends, Weedem Zoes. It's gonna be a hot project coming to you real soon. This is 2020, which marks the 25th anniversary of Mad-ism. We see where it is with the cannabis world. You see how that's popping off, and Mad-ism, the song, had a lot to do with where we at with that. So I'm trying to take advantage I'm taking advantage of all the cannabis world has to offer with Mad-ism. So check out for that. And I have a company called 24 Hours of Peace. We do an annual peace festival for the city of Newark, New Jersey, 8 years strong, 24-hour peace festival.
What is, could you break that down a little bit?
24 Hours of Peace. So In 2010, after I got finished working with Chris with Stop the Violence, I went back home to East Orange, Newark, hooked up with Ras Baraka, who was South Florida councilman and principal at Central High School. He's now the current mayor of Newark, New Jersey. He's in his second term, he's doing brilliant things. Newark has become a model city for the rest of the country. He's doing his thizzle, Ras Baraka. So he, back in 2010, he put together a think tank. He brought all the professionals, education, law enforcement, judges, council people, key Congress people in the building, all trying to create ways of addressing violence, how to bring the level of violence down. And being a part of the Arts and Culture Committee, we came up with an idea called 24 Hours of Peace. So I started a company called 24 Hours of Peace, which promotes peace, love, unity, safely having fun. It's a 24-hour event called 24 Hours of Peace, where we bring all your favorite artists out. We've had Carl Thomas, Naughty by Nature, Talib Kweli, Fat Joe, Common, Lords of the Underground, Das Effects, I mean, the Juice Crew All-Stars, Roxanne Shante. Like, we bring everybody out, pushing peace, love, unity, safely having fun. At the same time, we partner with the city of Newark. We bring out the social service organizations, Department of Health, the colleges come out, business owners come out, and we all, come together and just devise strategies of engaging the community around the concept of 24 hours of peace. So that's what that is.
So how do people come in to that event, go to that event?
It's a free event. It's in Newark, New Jersey every year. We usually have it on Clinton Avenue. Clinton Avenue. We did it on Broad Market one year, which is really, really special. But check us on Instagram at 24HRS of Peace. You can email me at 24hoursofpeaceinc.com, 24HRS of Peace Inc.com. Facebook page, 24 Hours of Peace. Get at us, no doubt.
So I just want to, because you are so connected to hip hop from the, I would say, start of hip hop, meaning the culture when it started to become what it is to now. Do you have any thoughts on the direction it's gone and it's going?
All right, so hip hop is dope right now. The real hip hop is popping off all over the world. In every corner of the country, there's real hip hop popping off. We keep looking at the radio.
Right.
Hip hop doesn't live on the radio. Hip hop lives in the hearts and the minds of the people who practice hip hop. Graffiti arts, breakdancing, DJing, MCing, using your creativity to come up with fashion line, using your creativity to open up nail salons and putting that hip hop on it to reach, all that's hip hop. Acting. Like, hip hop is in so many places, but we keep associating it with rap music. Rap music business is not hip hop culture, a totally different culture. If you try to stick to hip hop culture in the corporate culture, you're gonna lose. If you try to take corporate culture and bring it to hip hop, you're gonna lose. The battle rap scene is hip hop, and they killing it. I'm on YouTube, I'm watching breakdance competitions and battles and all over the world, thousands of people tuned in. I'm looking at you hashtag Madism. There's graffiti crews all around the world throwing up Madism just on the humble, just because it's stuck and that's the culture and they just do it.
Right.
So when I look at it, I'm like, man, hip hop is dope. Hip hop ain't nothing wrong with hip hop. Hip hop is exactly where hip hop need to be. Now rap music, I mean, it is what it is. If that's what you into, I ain't no hate. Do you? But the real hip hop is over here.
No, but the way it's brought to the public is hip hop is in the music, right? When they say culture, I guess it's lack of education to people who are not, they don't understand what hip hop is. So when you say hip hop, automatically their mind goes to the rap music,
right.
And that's it.
Right.
The clothing, they don't understand there's all this stuff behind it.
It's all the stuff behind it. Like it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's kind of dope because for those who know what the real hip hop is, like we get to have what's ours without the fakers and the people who don't know, because then they bring that negative energy into our space where we just built with each other and did what, like when hip hop first started, it wasn't on the radio, was it? It was in the street.
Okay.
It was in the parks. It was in the community centers. It was in just our natural ability to create, take nothing and turn it into something, or take the elements that we found around us, be it a turntable. And the turntable used to be considered an appliance. Now the turntable is considered an instrument.
Right.
All because we took the turntable and flipped it and bounced it and made it something else. From fashion, from like, I always say, black women actually created hip hop.
Okay.
Black women create everything. Black women are the ones who go out, even like, you know, you gotta go out and find it and make it happen and cook it up, sew it up, and give it that life. And then we go out, we take what black women create and we bastardize it, distort it, we pervert it. We gotta bring it back to the essence. And when you look at hip hop, like, yeah, it's a male dominated, the rap part of it.
Yeah.
But it's really taking what women, single mothers, what they were giving us, whether they knew, they didn't know what they were doing, they were just doing them. And then we took what mom had to give and made it something. Our sisters, our older sisters and aunts, that's how I learned hip hop, which is from Tim's, like why we wear Tim's, why we gravitate. That goes back to like the, 80s.
But you're not from Brooklyn though.
I'm from East Orange, New Jersey.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Like, we used to call it going over. Like,
Okay.
we go over. Like, this is the 70s and 80s. And going over is hopped on the PATH train and you went to the city. And then folks would either go uptown to do uptown business. Some people go to Brooklyn to do Brooklyn business. Some people just go to Orchard Street and Delancey to cop whatever, leathers and sheepskins and so like, what's considered New York culture was like Newark, New Jersey, East Orange, New Jersey. We had the same radio station, 98.7 KISS,
Okay.
WBLS, Hot 97.
Okay.
It's the same radio station, so it's the same thing.
Okay. Okay, so you mentioned that you graduated college and you became a teacher.
I didn't graduate. I don't want to fake the funk. I actually left.
Oh, you left.
I left. I was going to school during the at night. I was working during the day, and I was trying to do music, and something had to give.
Okay.
And it was that.
That was okay. Okay, but you do have some form of college education.
Oh yeah, college educated.
So what would you say, did that help you in the real world, and how so?
Yes and no. I was an English major, first journalism, print media,
Okay.
English. So it helped me develop, one, research. It helped me develop just a love for literature and poetry, and like that helped me really find that voice,
Okay.
right? But I used to be in the clubs. I was supposed to go to Texas Tech. I wanted to be an electrical engineer.
Okay.
Horrible at math. Why I wanted to do that, don't know. And somebody was like, yo, you want to go to Texas? You know, there's like no trees in Texas, B. Like all this, it's a totally different world. You might want to. So I did some, a little bit more research and
Okay.
thought about it. I don't want to be trapped. And so I had a guidance counselor say, yo, you should check out Wagner College on Staten Island. I'm like, yo, that means I could be up in Studio 54 every weekend. I could be at the Quarter every weekend. I could be at the Palladium, and that's what I did. So I met a friend of mine at college, Nicole Folks. She was putting out a record. She needed a dancer. For most rappers, you come in the game as a dancer, a DJ, or a graph artist. It usually doesn't start out as rapping, back then anyway. Right? So I was a dancer. And
Wait, you did breakdancing or hip hop or?
Hip hop, background dances, scuba scrap, like that type of dance, routines, and that's how I actually made my partner that I have a Channel Live. That's how we met, battling Proswell and Wyclef at Montclair State College.
Wow.
in a dance battle.
Do we have any?
Nah, no, it was no cell phones. They didn't have Instagram. It was none of that. It was a long time ago. So yeah. So dancing is how I got in the game, and that was courtesy of Nicole Folks, who I went to college with. So did college help me? Yeah, it kept me in the clubs of New York City so I could hone my craft in entertainment.
Okay. Do you have like a point where you said, this was my big break? Like
And when I met Karis, when Karis, I had met him, not when I met him. When I met him, it was because of I bring your kids to his lectures, right? And then I was signed to another production company. We were doing our little demos, and the guy, he dropped us, and sarcastically said to me, he goes, you're cool with KRS? Maybe you can get with him and, you know, give me a demo tape, you know. I'm like, oh, trying to be a smart ass. Okay, funny. And I chased Chris down and gave him my demo. And then 3 months later, I get a telephone call on my mother's phone hanging on the wall. Yep, there's no cell phone.
When you said demo, it's cassette, right?
A cassette.
Cassette.
It's a cassette, right? And like it cost a lot of money to get that cassette of 6 songs. It cost us a couple grand. Now you can do it with nothing, right? Crazy. So I get a phone call, my mother's phone. You pick it up, you don't know who's on the other end. And I hear, hello, may I speak to Hakim Green? I'm like, speaking? This is the Blastmaster KRS-One. I'm sitting here in D&D Studios, and I was just wondering, maybe you and your partner Tuffy can come through and we can work on something. What you think? I was at D&D Studio in about 45 minutes.
As fast as you can.
From Jersey, like, quick, called Tuffy, and we were there. So, and that kind of, when that relationship was solidified, it was like, okay, we're on our way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, I mean, you got your big break, right? So for the people who are trying now in this day and age, like, how would you say that they could get their big breaks, like in the music industry, whatever industry they're in? Like, what would be your advice?
Oh, wow. If it's for you, it's gonna come to you. So you gotta keep that mindset. If something's for you, if you work hard enough and stay diligent, it's like magnetic energy.
Right.
Right. And you want to ground yourself and allow things to come to you instead of chasing it down. First off. Second off, have love for whatever you do. Have love for that. Like, if you didn't get your big break, I'd still be doing this anyway.
Right.
Not, I'm doing this, and if I don't get my big break, then you put a stopwatch on it. And that's not how God works. God doesn't work like that.
Right.
God works when it's your time, things come to you.
Right.
We live in a world now where you really create your own success. It's a do-it-yourself society. Technology allows us to do a lot of things ourselves. So when the time is right and you feel comfortable to project yourself in front of people, internet is a great way to do it. You can get immediate feedback, immediate criticisms, right away. And then you'll also recognize who's really in your corner and who really not in your corner.
Right.
And then those people who are down with you, you deal with them. So it's a good way to, weed it out. Networking, there you go, thank you. Networking is a great word. Networking, your net worth is determined by your network, no doubt. And never be afraid to shine. Like and that's the thing. Like when you're ready. Like a situation happened where someone was telling me how important getting on, like the whole idea of getting on, when I get on, right? And so I go, all right, rhyme. Huh? Rhyme, spit a rhyme. I want to hear something.
Right.
Oh man, let me pull it out my phone. No, pull out your phone. Rhyme.
Right.
Like spit. Nah, you're not ready. Like we live in a world now where jokers is rhyming and doing their social media and doing their marketing and they're doing everything and killing it. So if I gotta that should be mastered already. Like your creativity, whatever that is you're trying to do, whether it's music, graphic design. If you're not sure, then work until you're sure.
Right.
And then step out.
Okay.
Don't step out till you're sure. And then step out.
But when are you sure though? Are you ever sure?
Yeah, you're sure.
You sure?
Yeah, you sure. You know when you're ready. When now you might have to perform in front of people, practice in front of people. Right. That's part of the development. Is practicing in front of people, and you get your critiques, and then you get to a point where you just know it. Like there's times when I forget my rhyme on stage, but the muscle memory is so locked in that I'm just saying things without even thinking about it. If I'm thinking about it, then I'm gonna mess up. I'm not sure.
It's just gotta come.
It's gotta come where you're not even thinking about it.
Right. So can you share with us a couple of your accomplishments that you're like most proud of?
The most proud of? Act Now is by far the most proud, like, African Children of Tomorrow Now. I was 19 years old. My friends that I built it with, Hassan and Rodney, we went to grade school together. We were all 19, 20 years old. And we noticed 1988, 1989, 1990, there was something missing from the school system that we didn't get, and that was knowledge of African culture, right? So the three of us as college students put this organization together with our own funding. Board of Education wouldn't give us a dime. They gave us the space, they gave us access to the students, no funding. Our first year, we had, on a monthly basis, 40 to 50 people regularly showing up. Over the 4-year period, it dwindled down, but still, like, you see who's really about it and who was just there because, you know, the cool cats came through the school and started something different, right? And that has its run, and like, but the folks who were serious about it, we did some phenomenal things, from getting, you know, young folks enrolled in school, taking them on these different field trips, just getting them that knowledge of self. And then because of that, that led me to KRS-One. If I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't have met KRS-One. Wouldn't happen.
Wow. So where's that program right now? Is that
program ultimately became 24 Hours of Peace.
Oh, so, got it.
Yeah,
okay.
right. You know, so it's like, you know, we disbanded it. Like, we had it running for 4 years,
okay.
Right? And then we just time to do something different in our personal lives, and things run its course. But Hassan is a road manager. He's more than a road manager. He's a road manager for all your favorite artists, manages quite a few artists. He's a stage director for like all your biggest concerts, from like Summer Jam. He's done the Garden. Like, Hassan is actually the co-producer of 24 Hours of Peace, the event. He co-produces with me. We're just so locked in. And Rodney is a school teacher in Montclair, New Jersey, a junior high school teacher. He's like an award-winning junior high school teacher. And so, you know, we still kept that going. It's just in a different form, which is 24 Hours of Peace, which is also a character development program, critical thinking, conflict resolution, using hip hop to identify transferable skills in young people. You know, we get them engaged in arts and culture, and then you can see where you can push them in a more academic sense, where their love is, as opposed to what's just, you know, a lot of times we in school and it's like, here's the script, math, English, science. Yeah, but I don't love none of this. This doesn't apply to me.
Right.
And the culture applies to them because they're the ones creating the culture. So we use the culture to figure, okay, how can we direct you in another way?
So this is not your first time in the rodeo as far as activism goes. You've always done this.
No, my whole life, like,
yeah.
since 88. Like, I went to college in 87, but whole totally different mindset. And then got turned on an autobiography of Malcolm X. And that was like, from there, you jump into John Henry Clark, you jump into all the great historians, you know, Destruction of African Civilization, Chancellor Williams, checking at the Diop, you know, all the greats, and then you learn about how they robbed us from math, science, the whole,
right.
We realize, wait a minute, this is mine, all this is mine, right? And once you figure that out, you look at this hip hop, this rap nonsense, like, man, y'all jokers is playing, and this isn't a night. It's funny, an old clip of us on MTV Raps, Yo MTV Raps came on Instagram, so I reposted it, and Ed Love was like, man, you was a teacher, and you got your college degree in graphic design, y'all went to school? Like befuddled that we were rappers who had got college and went to school and doing. So somebody was like, he was like, yo, y'all was so woke.
Yeah.
So at such a young age, I was 25. How am I woke at old age? Like, the Panthers, Fred Hampton was 17, 18, 19. Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton, Eldred, like these people in that young, Daruba Ben Wahad, Tupac's mom, H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmine, these people are in their early 20s, mid 20s, like conscious and confrontational with the system. We rappers who just know a little something at 25. So if you think that's woke, where you at?
Right.
like that's when I look at what's going on around us. It's like, yo, these jokers is like Daruba bin Wahad, who was the regional field secretary for the Panthers in the early 70s, Tupac's Code D, Panther 21 case. That's my OG, that's my guy, that's my mentor. Yo, his depth of knowledge of like geopolitics, what from America to Ghana to Tanzania to you name it, he knows like the history and has known this history. And he did 19 and a half years locked up.
Wow.
7 in solitary confinement, targeted as a part of COINTELPRO. Fought them, pled not guilty, and ended up getting released on his own. And it's been out since 1990. If you YouTube Mandela in Harlem, when he came to Harlem the first time,
Right.
Daruba introduces him. That's like that level of woke.
Yes.
And these jokers be running around saying the stuff they saying on the internet. It's like, oh my God, y'all just, I can't even engage because the learning curve is way over here.
So do you think people are the product of the environment? I just feel
Yeah.
like that. So their
Yeah,
knowledge based, I feel like it's limited because all I need to do right now is just run after money, and whatever money I need to get, however I need to get it, I'm going to get it. So the educational portion of it, your history becomes secondary, and your survival and getting money becomes primary. So I just feel like, would you say one of those reasons why people don't know their history is because of that today?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the disconnect happened a long time ago. Like, it's not a new thing. It's not something that just happened. You can't blame it on this generation. You can't blame it on our generation. Like, you look at Malcolm said, history is best equipped to reward all research. And the reason that is because it allows you not to make the same mistakes. But because people don't know history, they end up making the same mistakes. Right?
The correct history.
They have no concept of any history, which is crazy. I mean, even if it was just a general knowledge of what the school system is giving you, it's not even that. So, like, coming up in the 80s, like, I went to Hart Middle School, which is the school I ended up teaching at. Hart Middle School was built as an experiment in the 70s. It was a school without walls. So you would have, it's 3 buildings. Each building holds like 600 kids, right? Each side of the building has 2 lofts, loft A, loft B. Each loft has 4 teams. 4 teams have 4 classes in each team. No walls. If a fight breaks out, hundreds of kids are going to see the fight. I went to school there and I taught there. So having gone to school there and then going back allowed me to see myself. And then having a certain level of knowledge coming from a certain discipline helped me understand what the school system was doing to our kids. Like what was really happening, but on a broad stroke scale. Like you can see it over time, like this is not gonna go anywhere. You know where this is going.
Right.
And children need discipline, they need structure, they need a base, they need a foundation. You can't propel yourself if you don't have a strong foundation.
Right.
So you need a foundation first, and if you don't have any walls and no discipline and no structure,
Right.
like I know for myself, when I was in the 7th grade, if I wanted to play paper basketball, garbage can basketball, I would get up, I go to the bathroom, okay. And you go to the bathroom, and your homie is on the other side of the loft, and he see you get up, and he put his hand up. Y'all be in the bathroom like 15, 20 minutes. The teacher has 28, 32 students in front of her. She's not thinking.
Paying attention.
She can't. It's like,
Right.
it's impossible. She's in she is in a situation where they really can't affect what needs to happen. It's just not gonna happen. And then, okay, so I made it through that. I had life's, just.
But what was the goal for that?
I was, huh?
What was the goal for that, not having the walls? Like, what was the experiment for?
To give a sense of, you can experience math here and social studies here and science here, and then you can connect all those things. But that's cool if you have the discipline to ignore all the temptation happening around you.
Okay.
When you're 11, 12, 13, it's hard to ignore all of the temptation that's around you. From playing with your friends to the girls over there to whatever the case may be, and it's like, it's kind of like human nature. You know what human nature is, so I know if I take this and put it in this environment, I know what I'm gonna get.
Right.
And you can experiment, you can try, but if I do this, the end result is going to be this, because they don't have discipline and structure at home. We already know the socioeconomic class we're dealing with. We know the problems with drug addiction, alcohol addiction. We know trauma-based history of a lot of these people. We know that, like, they keep files and records on everybody, because if you're going through the social system, you know who's who. If you're building schools based on the population that's there. So you know what's going on, you know how to get from here to here. Discipline is key. You don't have any discipline, you can't do I got this saying, if anything goes, everything will.
Say it one more time.
If anything goes, everything will. Good and bad. If we allow people just to do anything they want, they'll do everything they want.
Right.
And don't want.
Right.
Because it's chaos. Chaos breeds more chaos. So seeing young folks in chaos, and then having my experiences being able to escape the chaos, come back, that's like, you have to do more than just be a teacher from, 7:30 to 3. Like, there was just a natural connection that I had to do more, and that more was Act Now. And that's like, again, I go back to Act Now. That's beyond the records. I've made records with big stars. I've made records that I'm really, truly proud of. Nothing compares to Act Now.
Wow, incredible. So for now, you are doing the 24/7...
24 hours a piece.
Sorry, 24 hours a piece.
24/7, 365, that's right. Yep.
So that's one way, right? It's a major way, giving back to your community. What are some of the other ways that you are actually involved in giving back to your community?
Madism. All we do is spark Madism. So, in the down years of my music career, I wasn't going back to teaching, so I started selling weed. Word is bond. And KRS was like, yo, you messing around in LA, it's popping, it's legal, you need to get on board with that. So in 2015, I created Madism.info, which is a journal, an online magazine that covers the cannabis industry from a hip hop point of view. It is my contention that hip hop is responsible for this big marijuana boom going on right now. This big cannabis boom is because hip hop made it fly. Hip hop said crack is whack, the alcohol is the alcohol, whatever, but hip hop just made all the weed heads say, yeah, I smoke too. And now we have this big economy going on. So Madism is my way of taking advantage of what I've already invested in and, connecting with others so we can all share. I'm a part of an organization called Game Face. Game Face is federally registered Schedule 1 marijuana exempt industrial hemp from New Jersey. It's filed under a federal law that allows people to grow hemp, cannabis, under a federal statute.
Is it medicinal or how?
No, it's I would say go to Growing Farms, GrowingPharms.com, and everything you need to know about Game Face will be explained there. And federally registered Schedule 1 marijuana exempt industrial hemp from New Jersey. Just go there and you'll get all the information. But a big part of what we do is outreach, and for medicinal reasons, of course, but also education. There's hempcrete. There's like what you can do with the biomatter from the cannabis hemp plant is bigger than just smoking it. So there's a lot of knowledge around that we share with folks. So we do symposiums and we do trade shows as Madism, and we share a lot of information. I also do a lot of stuff with South Florida Normal, my homeboy Will 420. So we do a lot of work in the medical field around with cannabis through that. Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Dump Trump.
Dump Trump, yeah. So as soon as the clown got in office, like, well, so Channel Live, you know, like part of our thing is we were into politics, like making songs about politics. So like Down Goes the Devil, Free Mumia with KRS, you know, the Armageddon album is highly political. We did a joint in 2004 called Mr. President, going in on George Bush, his whole administration. I did a song called Conspiracy Theory that I dropped the month before the election, the Trump election that he won. And check out Conspiracy Theory, produced by DJ Homicide, big shout out to him. So that's like the part one of the Trump. I released it a month before the election, and when you watch the video, you're gonna swear like it basically predicted where we're at right now with this guy, right? So when he when he won office, hip hop is about speaking truth to power. If you're not saying something, don't say nothing. And like I had to say, dump Trump. Just from the Central Park 5, I had to say, dump Trump. You know, and that's what that song was about. DJ Heron produced the beat, big shout out to him. I connected with my homie, my son, sent him the beat. He was like, oh, I'm on it, sent me a 16, put it together, got with my homie Benny Boom, shot the video, put the video up, it's rocking. And it's like, you know, hip hop needs to speak out very loud and clear, dump Trump. That's what that is.
Okay, got it. And when did that?
Well, it's out already. You just Google dump Trump, you'll see all the dump Trump, Hakim Green. But we see dump Trump, it should come right up. Okay. So you see the YouTube, you'll see the iTunes and where you can stream it and all that other good stuff. And you know, it's doing its thing. It's doing its thing. But we got to make it count. We got to make it count in this next election. You know, so right. You know, I'm 100% feeling the burn. You know, I burn, so it's only right that I feel the burn. I think right now, that's who we need to run for president.
So do you want to? What's under that?
Oh,
that shirt.
Oh, dump Trump.
Okay.
You got the dump Trump tees, basketball, football jerseys, baseball jerseys, hats, hoodies, tote bags, umbrellas, coffee cups. Dump Trump. We're gonna make this, you know what I'm saying, something monumental and send him on his merry way. You know what I'm saying? And we have to do it in a resounding, unified way. So all people, white, black, Christian, Muslim, atheist, Native Americans, Jewish, everybody needs to really come together in unison and say, nah, we're not rolling with that, brother. You got to be up out of here.
So it's not really about hate, it's just literally whatever's good for the people.
No, it's not about hate. It's just about, you know, like this guy told us who he was from like way back with the Central Park 5, of course, but even before then, with his real estate practices and how his leasing practices to black people. And like he's been very loud and clear how he feels about, you know, the different races and how he feels about women and how he feels about, you know, all different folks who isn't on his particular agenda. It's not even about money, because if you look at his business, he destroys businesses. So he may reap the benefits for himself, but he's not trying to create wealth for everybody. That's not what he's trying to do, and he's telling you that. So for people to even buy into what he's selling, I don't get it at all. It's really a horrible situation. But that goes back to, again, historical context and people not understanding how Nazi Germany was formed, how Hitler came into power. Like, you know, the level of ignorance, just not knowing, was in Germany at the time. So they really couldn't see Hitler coming. And it's the same thing now. People are so dumbed down that this fool, he's an idiot. Like we all know, even the people who support him know he's an idiot. So why do you support him? You know he's an idiot.
Okay.
Dump Trump. DumpTrump.global. www.dumptrump.global. Check us over there.
Okay, one last question is regarding what the backlash that you're receiving for creating this movement. It's a movement that would.
Yeah, it's definitely a movement. It's a movement just because, I mean, we're forced to move. There's people all around this country. Millions of people are out protesting this guy right now. We already know he didn't win the popular vote, so most Americans don't support him. So Dump Trump is, it's more than a t-shirt and a hat and a song. It's about collectively people coming together, to say we're not with that. And I'm hoping people choose the slogan Dump Trump to let that represent how they feel about it. It was very simple, very direct, very to the point. Dump Trump. Yeah. So forget Backlash. We gonna do what we do. Man, Backlash, we just do what we do.
Perfect. Thank you.
Dave Chappelle in it right now. Father watched the game, so I really.
So you're saying that group 1 is boring with group 2? It's really scary. They take in the club. Cold War's hot. Where's that makes it back and watch the whole damn dumb show? Jerry, take a breath.
Yeah. That right there is an annual fundraiser held by the Jesuits. That was the Friday before the election. This is in the middle of lock her up. This is in the middle of grab her by the da-da-da, right? Grab her by the, all this is blown up. The Catholic Church has this fundraiser. They had Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton roasting each other the Friday before the election.
Yeah, what's that?
You got Gayle King was in there, Henry Kissinger was in there. You had like some of the biggest, like real power brokers, like the real power brokers was in the building. And it just was like, considering he's calling for you to get locked up, and he's like the sexist that he just revealed himself to be, how could y'all even be in the same room right now, let alone raising money together? Like just from a principle, like a real principled standpoint, how could you, he's calling for you to be locked up, and he just disrespected all women. We just heard him say that craziness. How can you be in a room with this dude, let alone raising money with him?
Isn't it, wouldn't you say that it's all a game, it's part of the game, right? Like, how can you, like you say, exactly, how is that even possible? Like, if I dissed you so badly and I want you to be locked up, and if that wasn't part of the public game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, come on.
Like, how do you, like you said, how does that make sense? Or is that even real? Like, they don't even
how do you, what are we seeing when, like, y'all got an election on Tuesday? You guys are bitter rivals. He just totally disrespected you, your husband, your family. Like, how can you be in the same room with him, let alone raising money with him? It just doesn't make sense to me. And then when you see the folks who brought them together, you had the Catholic Church there. You had the what's his name? The Cardinal from New York. I forget what his name is right now. It slips me, but he is a picture of Trump and Hillary standing next to the Cardinal. And it's like, man, if somebody was putting me through all those changes, I'm not really trying to take no pictures with them. That's not happening. I'm not trying to flick it up with you.
No, right, that's what I'm
We're not doing anything for the gram right now.
Right, but I'm saying for the public, maybe it would have been, hey, let's put her to jail, just create that chaos for the public front. Maybe internally, it was just a plan. Right?
A strong possibility. Like, again, I'm a conspiracy theorist since the 90s. The reptilians, all that stuff. I've read all that stuff. Behold the Pale Horse, all that stuff. I've read all that stuff. And when 9/11 happened, like, I'm watching the towers fall and I'm going, no, that's an inside job. Because I watched CNN for years prior to that, where they do the show on demolitions.
Yeah.
And they show you, controlled demolition, how you bring down a building, and how if you don't bring it down that way, you can't. And those 3 buildings fell in its own footprint. So that tells you there was bombs in the building. There's no other way for that building. It's the only time in the history of buildings that 3 steel structures collapsed because of fire.
Right, because that's it would have been whatever floor it hit, it might have been a couple of those floors, but the whole thing to collapse.
Yeah, like maybe if the top broke off,
Yeah.
or even if it collapsed, but there were pieces, it broke off in sections. Okay, cool. But you see all 3 buildings disintegrate in front of your eyes. Come on, B. I know what that is. Like, that's controlled demolition. I watch CNN and they do a show called Controlled Demolition.
I think I
where they
yeah.
show you how so either this show is lying or this is not what you're telling me it is. And a lot of that came from, I read this book called The Hierarchy. You should put it on your joint. Hierarchy. The Hierarchy. It's about, and you gotta put it in perspective. You know, it's the white boys giving you their take on the connection between Freemasonry, the teachings of Jesus, and ancient Egyptian culture. And it's like they have a story, a narrative that goes along with it that compares Judaism to Freemasonry, in that the pillars of 2 pride, they both have pillars as a symbol. For Jews, it's Tzedek and Mitzvah. For the Freemasons, it's Boaz and Yakin. And those 2 pillars erected represents the nation being stable, and when those pillars come down, that represents upheaval or transition. So on 9/11, when the towers came down, I was like, oh, it's about to get new. Oh, word. Oh, y'all, this is not what they're saying it is. This is something else, and it's about to get new. And that enabled them to put down the NDAA, the Patriot Act, Homeland Security, all these security agencies that, you know, have now jurisdiction over American citizens, where that wasn't the case prior to 9/11.
Oh, that was the whole plan?
That and give an excuse to invade the Middle East. Like, there's a reason why that now the Pentagon, and like they just reported like last week, 2 weeks ago, that, you know, it's an agreed upon fact that they lied about Afghanistan. It's all over the news. It's like not me saying, it's not a conspiracy theory. Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC will tell you that the Pentagon and the military, like, they are all going, we were misled in Afghanistan and we were misled in Iraq. George Bush admitted there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. He admitted that like years ago. It's not a conspiracy theory. We know for fact there were no weapons of mass destruction.
Just to end this, is there anything you would like to give our viewers, share some motivation, inspiration for if they're struggling, you know, they want to better their lives? Yeah, just every day is a new day. Wake up with a smile on your face. You know, whatever you're doing, love what you do. Don't do it just becoming, you gotta feed yourself. Don't funnel no money. I ain't gonna get it twisted. I'm not telling you to funnel no money. But, you know, try to tie your money to what you love to do, so it's a win-win in all directions. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.